Hey boys,
value it.
I understand the conditions are making it hard, but we need to get some sharpness. Okay? Coming into Etihad, coming into a fast ground, let's try and get sharp as we can.
Yep.
Defend and attack, okay? Can we get half with Goody and Ego, half with Welly and me? Let's go, jog it out.
Go, boy.
We look at overall a macro view of what we want to build on through the year. So we've got 4 or 5 things that we want to keep coming back to every training session, or every couple of training sessions that keep our game style going. Is there any of this? Is there any of this? And it's just bags, bags, bags. It was all your instruction. Instruct him where you want it, where to go. How do you point out where he needs to run? How do you call the ball? Instructional talk. We just tweak our training a little bit for whether it's a team that's really good in contested situations, a team that moves the ball really well out wide. So we vary our training a little bit, but the idea is that Sean Wellman, Matthew Egan, Simon Goodwin, James Byrne, Hayden Skipworth and also Mark Thompson come up with a 99% of the way we play. Their knowledge of football is fantastic. So we work together a lot on the way we want the game to look. A lot of it's set at the start of the year though. We spend a lot of time planning how we want to play, developing how we want to play November, December, January, February of the previous season, and then we put that into action. And you have to tweak things, you have to change things, but you don't want to have to change too much because it means that you haven't done the right thing at the start of the year. Training session takes a lot of organisation. Even one session that was a pretty short session, it might have only gone for 40 minutes after warm-up, so it was a pretty short session. But that had been planned. The training session was on a Thursday. That had been planned on Tuesday. It actually been planned at the start of the year. That roundabout what the session was had been tweaked with. A bit more content had been put around the day of. Players have been taken in and out, how much training a guy has to do on a day, which is measured off their wellness, off a whole different amount of data, how sore they are. Every drill is sort of done to the second, and I've sort of got control over whether that drill will go longer or shorter or how it looks. And then we get out and train and watch and monitor and try and get out what we want to get out of. All right, boys, bring it in. Bring it in. Can we get, just give us 4 groups of 6, boys. Just bring it right in. We want to get, I just want to do a little grid with a 4v2, 30 on, 30 off. Why do you reckon we're doing that, Frog?
D1.
What's that?
D1.
D1, yeah, and get our hands sharp, okay? Let's get our hands sharp. So can we have 12 up here, 12 down there with Goody? Good. Unfortunately, yesterday it was pouring with rain and we're playing at Etihad, so, it's not going to simulate match conditions. So we had to just reassess what we wanted to get out of the session, because normally when you go and play at Etihad, you want to really, the ball moves a lot quicker and you want a short, sharp type session with a bit of speed on the session, because that's what sort of game it normally is. We came inside to just try and get a bit of sharpness on our touch and make sure that was ready for tomorrow. It's something that we've all worked very hard on, is taking our training from a country footy club to being at an elite level, and we're very proud of the fact that we think our training is at a very high level. Can still get better, but preparation and planning of it needs to be pinpoint and precise so the players can just get out and train. I'll probably leave it alone, to be honest. I think that, as I've said all along, we'll let Asada go through the investigation and comment at the end of it.
Has that affected players?
There's obviously a time we can talk about it in more detail, but the way the people within the club have supported each other, from the president through the board, through the coaches, through the players, through the staff, it has been phenomenal. This is a very unfortunate incident, a group of incidents, or however you want to describe it. I'll let other people describe what's happened, but there are some great people in this footy club who have worked very hard to define what we are internally, and we've got a lot of work to do on the outside and to rebuild, but there's a lot of great people inside this footy club, and I think that'll be shown over time. I think very rarely in a football club have I seen a synergy between every element of your football club and the groups of people, and the way the fans, the players, the board, the staff, the coaches, everyone within our football club has been able to interact and play for each other, work for each other. The fans have given us support I haven't seen before, and I truly hope that that will lead us a long way, because when when you have a football club that's supported by 55,000 members, potentially 800,000 supporters, and players who are playing for those supporters and supporters who are supporting those players, it's a very powerful thing. And I truly believe that we're all on the same plane at the moment, or level at the moment. I think that's a great thing.
Well, I think because you're a close group, that really is what helps. It'd be very easy to divide. It's very hard to stay quiet when you've got wives, you've got girlfriends, you've got mums, you've got dads, we've all got kids. So when the concerns are on, you're either going to splinter or hold tight, and to everyone's credit, they've held very tight.
Yeah, Reedy, well, I've been asked a lot of questions about Reedy and my relationship in the last 4 months, but it's a terrific relationship. We obviously have our disagreements about certain things and about, challenge each other on things, but she's been a family friend to myself and my family for 20 years. Just a terrific person, one of the kindest hearts you'll meet, and a great doctor.
My relationship with her it's been fantastic. It's sort of you acquire that relationship over a 20-year period or whatever it is now, probably 22 years, and you go through injuries together, and I think you get closer to the blokes that are injured. And he had a ruptured hamstring, he had navicular stress fractures, he had his head injury. So in those bad times you probably get closer, and then you sort of get pretty good mates. Just it sort of happens, He's a friend, yeah. Very good friend.
The mentality should be that once you get to game day, it's over the players and all the hard work's done, but it doesn't generally work like that. You're sort of a little bit more anxious than that, and you're worried about... I think the greatest worry each week for a coach is whether his players are ready to go, whether they're emotionally and physically ready, because it seems to be that the toughness of the competition and getting your players up week in, week out is the hardest thing. And when you've got a side like ours, which I think is a very good side, it's really about if they're up and about, you give yourself every chance to play well and have a chance to win the game. It is a long day. When you've got 4 kids, there's always something to do. So I think it was Alex's soccer this morning. Tom had to go to a birthday party. William wanted to have a kick of the footy. Scott with Stephanie, who's in England at the moment. And then actually sat down and watched Richmond play Adelaide, just to have a look at how the Tigers are going, how the Crows are going. And then did a bit of preparation, our preparations for the notes and what might happen through the game, and here we are. Do you think they'll have left the roof open so it's raining and playing at Weddingham? I think I first met Hoops in 1991. He was the bench manager back then, if it was called that then, and he was also helped out at training. And helped out probably sounds insignificant. Worked with a lot of players at training, and that's now 22, 23 years ago, so it's a long time. But Hoops and I developed a very strong relationship through my playing days, through a lot of injuries. Worked very hard on my hands, my goal kicking, and he did a lot of work with me there. And it's a fantastic relationship Colin and I have. He's very close to my kids and my wife, and his wife Barb. We're all very close. He's a great guy, and knows a lot more about football than probably people realise. And I think it's important to have people around you can trust, and Colin's certainly one of those. So land in the middle. You want to land in the middle, or you want to stay in the middle?
We just go for a walk, 2.5 hours probably before each game, and talk about the game, talk about the weather, talk about the ground. I think I'm a calming influence on him. I'd like to think that. No, I don't know. We've just always done it since he started coaching, so he just likes to do it, get out of the room, walk around for 15 minutes, talk to kids or whatever, talk about footy. And if I'm not there, he waits till I come, or vice versa. So there you go. It must be important to him. Just something that we do.
You don't switch off this job. It's a job that is all-consuming, and it's fantastic for that reason. I think that you have to have a family that embraces that and is engaged in that. I've got 4 wonderful children. a beautiful wife who is more than supportive. She drives our family and drives me to achieve what I achieve. And I think, you know, where switch off is an interesting term because you just don't ever get football out of your head. But being around my family and being able to participate in things with my family and talk to my kids and, you know, and talk to my wife is probably the real pleasure in your life.
It's like when he was playing, so it's quite a serious day, and he does have a specific routine that he follows, specific breakfast, specific, you know, times that he sleeps, rests, and talks to people and does what he needs to do before the game. So it's quite a routine. We usually do what we're doing, and he does what he's doing.
She's been amazing. She's been incredible. She is the most amazing person you'd ever meet, and yeah, she's driven the whole family and everyone to get through it, and so she's been great. I thought our boys played reasonably well. Not our best game, but certainly our ability to move the ball and open Gold Coast up at certain times was terrific. Yeah, 43-point victory. You can't complain too much. Certain parts of the game I would have liked to have been better, but that's, I suppose, a coach's prerogative. At the start of the year, if someone had said we'd be 9-3, it would have been exactly where we wanted to be. Obviously, you know, with everything that's been going on, it's even better that the boys have held their heads up and played some good football. They'll get a break now, time to refresh, and you know, I think that's great. But they get some time off. 9-3, we've set our season up. We can go in, have a good second half of the year, and hopefully make the finals.
Hi, I'm Sean Wellman, assistant coach at the Essendon Football Club, and here we are driving the conversation with Kia, and we're in the beautiful Kia Optima Platinum, and I'm here with Liam. Can you remember your first game as a kid?
Yeah, I can remember going to Windy Hill with Mum and Dad and my sister as a kid. I can definitely remember games at the MCG and Waverley Park.
How were the Windy Hill supporters back in the day?
Yeah, they were pretty feral.
We like that though. To say thank you for your continued support of the Essendon Football Club, anyone who's been a member for longer than a year will receive substantial savings on all cars. Liam and I were just chatting in this beautiful Kia Optima. You can save $2,500 when you buy one just for supporting the Essendon Football Club. Go to kiamemberoffers.com.au to find out more.
What a magnificent kick by Salmon. It's a goal.
I don't think in the start of the year there were great expectations on us. There was a great element of the unknown. I do recall pre-Christmas, 93, so late 1992, there was a big transition taking place. You know, Terry and Tim and Simon weren't part of the club anymore, and of course Tim was on his way back, so that was exciting for us. But I think we just asked as leaders, Bomber was captain and I was vice, and Mark Harvey and Gary O'Donnell, we just questioned ourselves what we wanted to get out of the year. We didn't want to be the next generation of the club that, you know, was remembered for mediocrity.
We saw what happened in 1992. We had a lot of group of young boys coming through. We felt that we needed another experienced player to get. So I basically asked David Shaw and Roger Hampson to go and get Tim Watson to a meeting, and that was really one of the catalysts to get him back out of retirement.
The handball, Watson will set, it does. Jimmy to go for goal. Drop punt, this will bring the stand down. Oh, won't the Bomber fans love that?
There was a very structured way that we played back in '93. We had sort of 10 very hard and fast team rules about the way we wanted to play, and I think once that really clicked in and players understood what their role was, and then they saw the benefits of performing those roles, and then they saw the results as a result of all that, I think that built confidence too. And then there wasn't really a great standout team in '93, and by the halfway mark I think we started to think that, you know, we're as good as anybody in the competition.
To see it unfold was quite exciting for everybody. I think the Bombers were somewhere between 40 to 50 to 1 to win the premiership, and it's probably the one premiership in the last maybe 20 years that got away from all the other top clubs at the time.
Hurd shrugs a tackler and kicks a freak goal.
Sheeds ran some names passes at the time, and you know, we'd seen a bit of Hurdy and these guys, but he sort of ran names like Fletcher and Oliver Henshaw and Kelthorpe and Hills and these sorts of blokes that we didn't know a lot about. But as senior players in the club, just wanted to try to provide some good leadership and you know, let the rest take care of itself. And we had some good wins and built some momentum, and you know, the rest was history.
And a free kick has been picked out of it. It's going to young Rick Ollerenshaw, playing his first game for the season, and he kicks a goal.
Oh, I think going into the season, I was just worried about getting a game. You know, growing up, you always wanted to play AFL footy, so I think I was just more focused about trying to win a spot in a starting lineup. So that was, I guess, my focus, and playing in premierships, and that was the last thing on my mind. And it probably didn't even enter my mind until maybe, towards the finals, maybe late in the home and away season. I thought, we're going all right here. We might be a chance to win a flag. And I actually mentioned that to my dad and said, we might be a chance to win a flag here. Can I get a tattoo if we win a premiership? And he just laughed at me. He said, you're kidding yourself, son,
Watson, good handball to McCurry. Here's a chance. McCurry with a drop punt. There's a great goal. Well done, Bombers.
We beat Collingwood at the MCG in a night game here, and they were one of the teams that were considered, one of the better teams in the competition. And I think there was that realisation after we were able to beat them that, this wasn't just another year where we were building. This was actually a team that was capable of winning the flag.
Paul Salmon has to kick this goal to put the Bombers in front. Salmon kicks. It's good. Bombers in front.
And there was a game at West Coast Eagles, which has now become famous for Kevin waving his jacket. And they were the reigning premiers. It was a game that was going to consolidate ourselves in the top three, and I think it had great significance. To win on the last kick of the day was a pretty amazing result, and one that sort of gave us a belief, I think, just late in the season that we could go all the way.
There's the bounce, Summerville, and there's the siren. Victory for the Bombers.
It's always a great day when you win a grand final. I spent a lot of time on the bench that day, so I actually watched a lot of the game, and it was just extraordinary how these young players that were supposed to get caught in the headlights and not be able to perform on the big stage just lapped it up.
Spalding couldn't take the mark. Another goal to Essendon kicked by Herb.
Back in '93 in that final series and that whole year, nobody knew that Herb was going to become a household name and that Fletcher would go on and be the player that he was, or how good McCurry was going to be, because they're all first and second year players. So I guess you look back now and you say, okay, we had this amazing group of talent back there in '93, but at the time you didn't know how good it might be.
A high kick up towards 7.
The day itself, often for players, is a bit of a blur, but I was so grateful to be there 8 years after playing in the '85 premiership. You don't know if you're ever going to play in another one. After you got over that hurdle, we were really focused. The team was at a stage where we believed anything was possible. So I don't think we went out there lacking questioning ourselves. I think we went out there with a great belief, and I think we played like that.
Salmon. This for number 4. 40 metres out. He's kicked well all day. That's no exception.
It was a great buzz, a nice day for footy. Some regrettable mullets on the field on that particular day, but when you reflect, to be playing out of the goal square and having the sort of the ball carriers we had, Gary O'Donnell and Michael Long and Paul Hills off the wing, Ricky Olorenshaw swinging off his left foot, and off half back Mark Harvey. It was a joy to be a part of that group on that day, and a great thrill and a great memory, and the celebrations were worthy of it.
Buick belts it wide to O'Donnell. O'Donnell's got a bit of space, plus he's got Ricky Olorenshaw. Clever chip by the youngster.
It just went so quick. It's just, the whole day was a blur, and I actually said to Bomber Thompson before the game, it doesn't feel like any different, any other game. And he did say, well, they don't move the goalposts, they don't change the shape of the footy, it's still the same size ground, so it really is the game's no different to any other you've played in. And once we got out there, and once you start running around chasing the footy, you forget about the crowd and what you're actually in a grand final. You just start playing on instinct, and it's such a blur, and I can't believe it's 20 years ago. It seems like yesterday, and even to this day, it's still the biggest highlight of my life.
Coming into the club, being relatively new, been around only for a couple of years, you get to feel, really comfortable with everyone around. James Hird being the head coach, his value from day one that I've been at the club is family first, footy second, being together, helping each other out. You definitely do get the feeling of family around this club, that's for sure.
When you get drafted as a young kid, you come in and I guess you spend more time here than you would with your own family. The True Value Solar and the Essendon Football Club partnership works really well because of the value systems that they both have. The Essendon Football Club's like a family, and you care very much about the people involved in the club, and while we're on the sporting field and they're in the business world, I think that the blend translates.
Hello Bomber fans and welcome to week 4 of the Bombers vs Melbourne Rebels Yakult Crosscode Challenge. Last week saw Cale Hooker from the Bombers and Luke Jones from the Rebels go head to head in the goal kicking and rugby pass challenges. After the first 3 rounds we can see the scoreboard reads 3-3, so there's a lot to play for today. Well Bomber fans, today we have Caden Neville from the Rebels and Big Tommy Bellchambers from the Bombers. Fair to say I'm feeling quite small and inadequate compared to you two big monsters, but we're getting into a nice challenge here. Alright boys, so the rules of the high ball challenge is pretty basic. I know tall guys like things very basic. So it's first one to drop the ball is out. Okay, pretty simple. Let's see how we go. What's up there? Oh, it's easy. Big mitts. Alright boys, it's been a bit easy so far. You can start putting each other off. Just don't hit each other because it could be a little bit of trouble.
Oh, tough ball, tough ball. Oh.
Okay. Oh. Up there. Tie one.
He's got it.
Alright, maybe you can hit each other now. Curving, it's curving.
Where's?
Oh, no! Good job, big fella. Well done. Well done, Thomas. Good hands, mate.
Great kicking.
Okay, boys, so our second challenge today is the AFL stab pass kick. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to feed you a little handball around centre half forward, few steps, bit of movement, and then drill it in. And then back again is our good friend, Mr. Red. He's going to be waiting there and he wants it right on the chest. Oh!
That's all right.
Very good technique.
Good
Happy with
start.
the technique. Oh, there it is.
Oh, bit too much mustard on that one.
Oh! Told you it was going to be a tough one, boys. Hey, you thought I was just tricking, didn't you? Hey, I bet you I could do it.
Oh! Oh, close.
Make it count. There it is! There it is!
There's the win.
And there we go, Bomber fans. We're away here. Today's big day. 2 to the Bombers and 0 to the Rebels. Let's take a look at the scoreboard, and we've got the Bombers on 5 and Melbourne Rebels on 3. Well, Bomber fans, that's it for week 4 of the Crosscode Challenge. Make sure you join us next week. We see Michael Hibberd from the Bombers and Jed Robinson from the Rebels, and find out who's got the biggest boot in the AFL Torpedo Challenge and the Place Kick Distance Challenge. We'll see you then.
Something most people wouldn't know about me is I go to university. I've studied law and commerce.
Collier cuts it off, so a few mistakes there from both teams. Collier running and trying to draw links to him.
Most annoying teammate would probably have to be Nick Comer. Just his little things he does around the club, and I'll throw Ben Howard in there as well. He likes to play around with things in my locker. The best thing about playing for the Essendon Football Club is a couple of things. You play with your best mates every week, and I suppose the tradition and heritage of Essendon being such a big club in the AFL.
Head to the Essendon website to take part in the fan segment for your chance to win an Antler prize back.